Crown Zenith has just had its last product released, and what has been going on with the market, because some of these cards are silly cheap, and now is the best time to pick up these cards. What are they? Well, let's find out. Alright guys, Crown Zenith is finally out, completely. The last product was the Zacian and Zamazenta premium collection boxes, and they were both fantastic products with a ton of packs, sleeves, you name it. It was a great product to end the Sword and Shield era and also end Crown Zenith. However, single card prices have been dropping, and now really is the best time to pick up some of these cards. So today, we'll be going through a handful of cards which I've picked, which I think are going to be absolutely amazing for your collection and for long term. Let's dive into the first one. First off, we have the Radiant Charizard. Now, this card is not expensive. It has been dropping across the board, pretty much in all different markets, right? From eBay to TCG Player and on card market. This is a cheap card to get. Now, I pulled this a bunch of times. It's not massively difficult, but it is by far the most valuable Radiant card in the set, and it's Charizard. Now, we know the Radiant Charizard on Pokemon Go is actually a pretty cheap card to get. Well, this is actually cheaper, and I think this one, in my opinion, looks better. Let's take a look at this. So we can see on card market is around €6. We've got $4 on TCG Player and $6 raw on eBay. Over here in the UK, this is usually around £5 to £6 a piece. Let's take a look at this. PSA 10, we're looking around $50. So that's actually not bad. And even in a PSA 9 at $20 for how cheap this card is, that's actually pretty good, to be honest. Now, it has dropped across the board from the graded prices to the raw prices, but it's been selling. It has been selling, and to be honest, you get it around $4 to $5, and £4 to £5 is incredible. So I would suggest picking this up. This is just a dirt cheap card. If you love Charizard, then definitely pick this up. And people love Charizard, and this is a really good one from a really good set. Next up, we have the Pikachu. This is from the Galarian Gallery. Now, this is actually quite interesting. This in Japanese was in the God Pack. Now, that one's really expensive for the Japanese version. But looking at the English version, this is still a cheap card. But even though it is a cheap card, it's actually quite pricey for a regular Galarian Gallery card. We're looking around about €7 to €8 on card market, and on average around about $5 for this Pikachu, either from eBay or TCG Player. But in a PSA 10, we're looking at 50, which is actually pretty decent. And then a 9, we're looking around 18. So as dropped, obviously we would expect that across the board, from the graded prices to the raw prices. But like I'm saying, guys, this is so cheap to pick this up right now. It's been sat at the raw price for around $5 for the longest time. So good time to pick this up, super cheap. And everyone loves Pikachu, big classic cards. And yeah, I think it will do well in the long term if you do pick this up cheap. Speaking of amazing cards, we now have the Mew. Now, this is from the Galarian Gallery as well, and this is the most expensive Galarian Gallery card. Now, we're looking around about €6 to €7 on card market, and about $6 to $7 on eBay and TCG Player. Over here, I've seen this sell for about £7 on average. But even though in a PSA 10, $51, that's actually, again, pretty good. That's a really good return if you can get this in a 10. And even in a 9, it's not bad. Most of the time we get 9s, they tend to be the same as a raw value. So this is actually not too bad. This is, like I say, the most expensive Galarian Gallery card. It's actually not that easy to pull. I've opened up a lot of Crown Zenith, either for myself or on the streams, and we haven't really pulled this card much, maybe like twice. It's a bit odd, but yes, it is a card which, it's been its value for around $7 for the longest time, so I think it's going to be a great one to get. Beautiful artwork. I think it would be really good if it was an alt art, to be honest, but it's a regular Galarian Gallery, which is fantastic. That means it's nice and cheap to pick up. Then we have the Pikachu. Now, this is the secret rare from the set, and this card has dropped a lot since its release. It did come out really high. We look at the raw price, it came out over $100, and then it dropped massively. People start to realize, hang on, this card isn't as difficult as we thought it would be, but nonetheless, it is pretty steady recently with its value. It's been sitting around $15 for the longest time, and around about €13 on card market. Here you're looking around about £15 for this card. PSA 10 though, it's actually, again, pretty good. $73, $74. PSA 9's not that great, but in a 10, this is definitely a good card to get graded. And like I say, it's not massively easy because it's still a secret rare, but it is a lot more common than people realize to begin with, and that's why this card dropped so much. And it's been around that $15 to $20 mark for a while now, so I do think it's probably time for it to, start going up once Crown Zenith starts, getting harder and harder to get hold of, because this is by far one of the best cards in the set. Then we're going to be looking at a full art trainer. We've got the Eredar. Now, this was one of the most expensive ones in Vstar universe. However, in Crown Zenith, the female trainers don't tend to hold insane value compared to Japanese. And we're looking around €13 to $15 on average for the Eredar. Here, I mean, you're looking around between 12 to 15 pounds for this card raw. $50 in a PSA 10, not as high as some of the other ones, but still not too bad. Although in a 9, it's not very good at all, at around $19. This is a beautiful card. If you like collecting female trainers or you like the waifu cards, then this is definitely a good one to get. But yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap. And if it grades well, which as I've seen from Crown Zenith seems to be a set similar to Brilliant Stars, which it does grade quite well, then you could get a really good return with this if you get in a 10. Next up, we have the Glaceon Vstar. It's actually one of my favorite cards in the set, and you know, evolutions always hold really, really good value. And I actually picked this one up myself, and then I pulled one, which was crazy, like a few days later. Now, we're looking at around 30 euros on Card Market, and you're looking at around about $20 on TCG Player and eBay. Over here, I think I picked mine up for around 22, 23, I believe. But this is a card which has dropped in value since its release, although it has stayed around that 20 to 30 mark for a while now, for an honest while. And in 10, we're looking at $60, which is actually pretty good, to be honest. You know, pretty good. 9, a little bit more in a 9. But, you know, like I say, if you get a good one, then this is going to be a great one to have in your collection. And evolutions, we know they hold incredible value. We've seen it across the board. Lots of people want them in their collections. If you like to collect all the evolutions, this is a beautiful one to get. And price is really good for this right now. Speaking of evolutions, we then have the Leafeon Vstar. Now this one is a little bit more pricey than the Glaceon, but it has been dropping also. So we're looking at 34, 35 euros on Card Market. We're then looking at around $30 on eBay and 23, 24 on TCG Player. Over here, I've seen this sell roughly around 25 to 30 pounds. So it really does depend on the quality, of course. But we're looking at $36 in a PSA 9. Okay, that's not too bad. But then 62 in a 10, which is actually pretty decent. And similar to the Glaceon, you know, lots of people like to collect evolutions. This is a gorgeous card. Not easy to pull, just like the Glaceon. They're both not really easy. So if you can pick this up for less than $30, I think this is a really good steal. I do think that. You know, and if you can get in a 10, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But long term, I think all evolutions are a safe bet. And then we got the Mewtwo Vstar. Now, this is actually a gorgeous card. Really, really nice. And it has been dropping. So now's a really good time to get this card, if I'm being honest. So we're looking at $66 on eBay, 60 on TCG Player, 72 euros on Card Market. Over here, this does tend to go for roughly around 55 to 60, depending on condition of the card. I've seen one recently sold actually for as low as 50. So this has actually been dropping quite a bit. If we look at the graded prices, PSA 9, $80, PSA 10, $180. This is a big card to get in a 10. So I've got one actually. I pulled one. I'm going to send mine off to get graded in the future. Hopefully it comes back as a 10, because it is an amazing card. This is one of the biggest cards in the set. All of the top cards, except one, have been dropping recently. Giratina has actually been holding quite steady, but all the others have been dropping. The Arceus, the Palkia, the Dialga, and the Mewtwo. So I do feel like it's a good time. Like, it really is a good time. Like I said, the last product, Crown Zenith, has been released. ETBs are no longer to be ordered. So now's a good time to maybe look at getting some of these top-end cards to finish off your collection on Master Set. And this is definitely one of them. We're going to take a look at the Arceus. We're not looking at all the gold cards. We're just going for the Arceus today. And this is, in my opinion, one of the better ones to get hold of, because the price of this card has been dropping quite a bit. Like, quite a bit. I saw one recently sold over here in the UK for around 50 to 55. Okay, similar to the Mewtwo. So this has dropped quite a bit. We're looking at 71 euros on Card Market, 67 on TCG Player, and 68 on eBay. PSA 9, 74, not the greatest, I have to admit, in a PSA 9, but in a PSA 10, we're looking at 160. So we're looking at similar levels to the Mewtwo Vstar. Both of these cards in raw value and PSA value are pretty similar. The Dialga and Palkia are not that great in the form of graded prices. They are on the lower side. They are near that $100 mark. And their raw prices, though, have been dropping. So they are pretty good. But I do feel like the Arceus is probably the better one to go for. Giratina hasn't really been dropping in price. It's been kind of steady. Although the PSA 10 value of the Giratina has been dropping quite a bit. That's why I went with Arceus today. And this is a really, really good card. And, you know, across the board, obviously they've all dropped. However, the Arceus, we go back to the last month, this is the PSA price has been pretty steady, right? It's been around that 160 over the past month, quite steady. And even the raw price, it's been pretty steady over the past month from $70, and it's been sitting around at 68 to 69 for the longest times. That's one thing to take into consideration with this Arceus, whereas all the others have been dropping. So there you have it, guys. That's what's been going on with Crown Zenith. Like I say, the product line has been completely released. There is no more. So now's a great time to crack packs or just pick up some of these single cards. And I think these are really good ones. Of course, there's a ton of amazing cards in this set. In my opinion, it's like the second best set in the Sword and Shield era. But now is a great time to get some really good deals and some good steals with these cards as well, because the prices have been declining. And of course, you know, everyone has their fan favorites and everybody wants to get the cards they're missing. And those are just some which I think are really, really good. So let me know down in the comments what you think about Crown Zenith. Is there any cards that you're still after? I'm still after around about 60 or so cards from this set. And it's quite a lot. I've got a long way to go, but I enjoy opening this set. I really am, because it is such a great set to open. And on top of that, I'm going to be sending off a bunch of cards to get graded in the future, especially that Mewtwo. But if you know what great cards to get for your collection right now and what I've been picking up recently, then make sure to click on this video right here. If you watch more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's it from me in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.